Joan returns. Steve and Happer remember when Steve had started giving Happer some sort of divided attention at a crucial time in their marriage. Well, it had been a few days since Joan's return from the United States, where she had been working for the last 5 years, when Steve's attention started getting divided. It was during that time in the U.S. that her communication with Steve reduced considerably. Like it or not, distance always creates a communication gap that is physical, electronic, and emotional. Yet the time variations between the two countries also did not help. A new family to look after and a marriage to hold intact. Indeed, life had changed for Steve, while on the other hand, Joan was also busy trying to chase the American dream, during which she met Wentworth Morgan, who swept her off her feet. However, there is no bad blood between these two longtime buddies, and like Robert Southey once said, no distance of place or lapse of time can lessen the friendship of those who are thoroughly persuaded of each other's worth. With 5 years between the two longtime friends, clearly there was quite a lot to catch up on, although the timing for Joan's return didn't seem perfect for Steve's marriage. Nonetheless, the two had to catch up no matter the cost. Steve clearly knew that it wasn't a choice between salt and sugar, but he had it within his means to have a taste of both necessities. Catch up with Joan, and at the same time, continue to patch his marriage. With a few days left on her count before she would return to Seattle, Washington in the USA, bonding time looked really limited for the two. In between work and his other personal commitments, the only time Steve had to meet with Joan was after work, around 5 p.m., while Joan, on the other hand, made time for family and other friends. For at least 3 consecutive days, the duo met at Bamboo, Next Bar and Restaurant in Bugalobi. During one of their meetings, Joan told Steve that her life in the U.S. wasn't a bed of roses all the time. She talks of a time when she had to work 3 jobs for over 9 months before she could afford a shoebox apartment of her own to stay. As time went on, things started to improve little by little before she met Morgan. The candles were lit, and the 3 magical stars seemed to be shining upon her when she met Morgan at Purple Cafe and Wine Bar in Seattle, Washington. Like many, she was sighted having a simple glass of wine after a tiring day when they met. He was busy texting on phone with headsets on his ears when he stumbled onto my table, spilling away my sweet red wine, some of which splashed on my gray jacket. In a rare circumstance, he was kind enough to apologize to her. He offered to buy her another drink, which she did not decline, and also pay for her jacket drying cleaning. After nearly 5 minutes of chit-chatting, the two exchanged contacts as they walked out of the cafe. As a sign of good faith, Morgan insistently went away with Joan's jacket, which he promised to return after was fully cleaned since they stayed in a common neighborhood area. 3 days later, they met outside the same cafe when he brought it back but didn't talk for long. From there, they kept on chatting over the phone until he asked her out. A couple of dates gone, and they were officially boyfriend and girlfriend. Almost a year and a half later, they welcome a bouncing baby boy shortly, after which they decided to move in together. The boy is called Michael Morgan Jr. Steve and Joan had very long conversations over the course of their 3 meetings, during which sensitive topics, including Steve's wedding, came up, and other trivial things. Although she brushed it off when it came up during one of their conversations, Joan did confess to us on why she missed Steve's wedding about 5 years ago, just a day before her departure to the U.S. I knew about the date, plans, and everything, but I just didn't want to ruin it for him, or me perhaps. I really wanted him, but eventually I realized that he wasn't mine after things got so serious with Happer. Since then, I had been counting the days until when my soulmate was going to marry someone else and walks out of my life forever. I knew he was with another woman, and I knew he said he loves her so much, but all I wanted to do was to say, can't he see that the woman he was meant to be with was standing right in front of his face? I should have told him when I had the chance, but that's something I'm going to have to live with the rest of my life, a feeling to haunt me forever. Joan remarked shortly before her return to the U.S. Indeed, the bitterest tears shed in life are for words left unsaid and for the things we haven't done. Lost opportunities, lost possibilities, feelings we can never get back. That's part of what it means to be alive. But inside our heads, at least that's where I imagine it, there's a little room where we store those regrettable but friendly memories. A room like the stacks in a library. And to understand the workings of our own heart, we have to keep on making new reference cards. Like Joan noted, sometimes moving on is the only option. In fact, today marks exactly a week since she left the country. And for Steve, As you read this right now, he and Happer have eloped along with their 2 kids to Zanzibar, where they will be renewing their vows as they mark 5 years in marriage. For a marriage that has been through some rough patches in the first half of the decade, it's only fair that they reaffirm their vows for a renewed happily ever after. Hi everyone, this is Robert K. Circles. Thank you so much for tuning into the podcast today. I really appreciate you taking the time to listen. I hope you enjoyed this story. If you did, I'd be incredibly grateful if you could take a moment to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any future episodes. Give us a like on your favorite podcast platform. Leave a comment letting us know what you thought. We love hearing your feedback. And if you know someone who might enjoy the show, please share it with them. Your support means the world to me and helps us reach more listeners. Thanks again for being a part of the Robert K. Circles community. Until next time, take care.